it'll say live in just like a couple of seconds, like it did just now. Welcome everybody to the Epic Engagement Adventure. My name is RJ Redden, but you know me. You didn't come here to get to know me. You came here to get to know Kathi Burns. Kathi is my guest today, and we met. What was it, a long time ago at maybe an Event Raptor event, probably.
Yeah, an Event Raptor event. Yes, way back in the day, I think a few years, right? I had you on my podcast and we've been chit-chatting ever since.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you made it here on this most fabulous of days. This is the last podcast of the year for us, and so let's just begin by saying, how are you gracing the world with your talents? What do you do?
That's a great question. I love the way you said that. Um, I am a professional organizer and image consultant. So basically, I'm helping people organize their space, time, data, objects, and wardrobe. So whatever everybody has something that needs organized, right, in this world. So I'm what's considered a journalist in my field. I'm board certified. And so I can tackle almost any kind of disorganization tangle that anybody might have. And that's the fun of it. This keeps me amused.
Well, what drew you to that? Was the first time you thought to yourself, I really need to make this into a living?
That's a good question. I've had several careers, and I was reinventing myself after 9/11. We lost our company real quick, and then I was on the reinvention path, and I moved to California. And my girlfriend at that time, my first girlfriend that I ever met in this state, was kind of a pack rat. And she had a year off to reinvent herself. I had a year off to reinvent myself. And we were both on that path. She was on it for a different reason, but I got to her house and I'm like, girl, you've got to like really get rid of some of this stuff because it's weighing you down, and I don't see any way that you're going to have a path forward with all this stuff surrounding you. And so I started helping her declutter, and it was really fun. And she goes, you know what, you're really good at this, and people do this for a living. And I'm like, really? She goes, yeah, yeah, yeah. My girlfriend's been hiring a professional organizer for like 20 years, and you should call her up and talk to her. And sure enough, I did. And I was reinventing. And after I spoke with her girlfriend, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is something that's so much fun, and I really love doing it. Let me explore how that's going to look. So I jumped right into it. I had a year off, but I only took 10 months off. I don't know why. That was silly. I was so excited about starting a new career that I just jumped right into it. I became board certified. I started working with clients, and well, I became board certified 2 years into it because you have to have a certain amount of hours and do the exam and all that good stuff. But I jumped into it and I've never looked back. It's just a blast for me. I have great energy around it because really it's helping people change. Right.
Mm.
And everybody has to change. Actually, I shouldn't say I help people change. I help people change with grace,
Mm.
because we all change every single day of our life. Right. But if we don't do it with intention, change will happen to us. So by clearing away all the crap in the background of our life, we're better able to change in the direction that we want to change. And that's really all I do for a living, is help people learn how to change the way they want to change.
That's interesting. So it's more of a stop changing out of reaction, change out of intention sort of a mode.
Yes, indeed. You got that right on. You nailed it right on the head.
Yeah.
And change is going to happen, right? So do we want to make change happen proactively, or do we want to react? And if we are not organized and we're not systematized and we have too much distractions around us, we will react, and then things will just happen, not necessarily how we want them to happen to us, right? As opposed to happening for us.
Well, and that's fascinating to me. Do you find that I mean, in order to, because you'll come in, do a job, do a bang up job, I'm sure. Do you find that people need to stay in a certain, or try to keep themselves in a certain mindset after you've been there?
Oh, absolutely. And I work with clients, some of my clients I've been engaged with for quite some time. So, because organizing is an ongoing process, right? And you're totally right, RJ, that you have to have the mindset that you're going to just keep refining your systems and refining your systems. And eventually they will be self sustaining. However, there's always that 10 minutes cleanup at the end of each day or the end of each week or the end of it to get yourself back to what I call that zero spot where everything has a home with a yard around it. All the systems are working and they're not fighting against each other. And once you get to that zero space, there is less maintenance. But again, organizing is an ongoing process. And you have to have that mindset to know that there is no magic bullet. You're always going to have to be doing something to make it better or to maintain it. But the more organized it is, the less time it takes to maintain.
Right. I think about it like I used to a long time ago, but I used to work in this manufacturing plant basically, and they had this laser, and I drew things for a living that went into the laser to be cut, but every time that machine broke down, it was $2,000 an hour. 20 years ago, it was $2,000 an hour for that thing to break down. And like, by God, we needed to do our part to keep that running always, huge priority. You could really get in some deep stuff if you didn't. Uh, and, uh, and yeah, I mean, after a while, it just becomes habit, but
Right.
getting that habit to fire can be so difficult for people.
That's the main thing that I think most people struggle with is creating the new habit. And it takes 4 to 6 weeks of practice to create the new habit. 4 to 6 weeks of continuous practice to create that habit. You can't do it and then 2 months later say, "Oh, I'm gonna jump into it and create this habit." No, it's gonna be a constant do, but once you're doing it, we are creatures of habit. So
Right.
that's the beautiful thing for us is that once we do have that habit, it's easier to stay in it for
Yeah.
sure. And that's why I have monthly, get shit done sessions basically so people can come in and keep practicing their habit and keep fine tuning the skill of, yes, I'm going to work on this at a set amount of time for, set day. That helps.
Oh, I'm certain it helps. I've created some software that people use to get their content writing done, and it is a biweekly effort. Come in, co-work with us, get your stuff done, but we're constantly refining and all that. I mean, because it's such a joy to look up at the end of 2 hours and go, "Ah, done." Don't have to think about it. I find that I spend more time grousing with myself and beating myself up over stuff that I haven't gotten done than it would take to actually just do the thing.
It
Do your customers run into that?
Oh, yeah, that's totally the truth, and it's just and a lot of it is that they're in overwhelm and they don't know what is step 1. Like,
Mhm.
what should I do next? That's always the question, where and when you go into overwhelm and, I liken entrepreneurs like squirrels, we are often like squirrels where we're jumping from branch to branch. We're not really paying attention. We're following that shiny nut, right? And we're off here and we're off there and we're creating these systems that are fighting against each other. We're not really focusing on the one thing that could get us to the next mark. We're just off on some other branch, and that's what happens. So when I'm working with clients, it's more like, okay, let's gather your nuts together. Let's see what are the bad nuts and toss them out. Let's refine the nuts that you have so that you don't go nuts. But
Yeah.
creating that focus and that linearity is really the key to staying organized.
Yeah. Because once you get behind, it is so hard to climb that mountain again. It's just so
Yeah,
hard.
and you don't know what's fighting. Like I've done this. Okay, you do one system, and you're the systems girl. You do one system, then you do another system, and you forget which one you had going on, and they start fighting against each other in the background, and you don't know which one's doing the job and which one's not.
Mm,
And so you're clueless. And this is your, this is your wheelhouse, RJ. Is like, yeah, let's get the one system that works. And that's all I do with clients as well. Is let's find the one thing that works, and let's keep practicing at it, honing it, making so that it's simple, and then creating that habit so that you're always fine tuning it and in there. Just like you said it at the manufacturing plant with the robot, oh my God, if you let it break down, you've got to go all the way back to the beginning to build it back again so that it's running like a fine-tuned, system. Then it's nothing to keep it maintained. But if you ignore it and walk away and you're not maintaining it, it's kind of like not putting oil in your car. Same thing, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, so you've been doing this for how long then?
19 years as of September of this year. 19 years. Yeah. And still loving it, which is amazing to me because I've had 7 careers, and I tend to get bored, but this is not a boring profession at all.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Has anything changed in 2023 about how you do your business or how you work with people?
Yes, now we're all virtual. So I have a lot more virtual clients than in-person clients these days. And we're all used to that now. Pre-COVID, no one wanted to work virtually with an organizer. Now people prefer to do it because it's easier and less time consuming. So yeah, I think the virtual environment has changed for everyone. And for me, for sure, virtual consulting is really where it's at. And also, things like this, speaking virtually as opposed to speaking in person. All of my, yeah, I'm a professional speaker, and I'd say 80% of my speaking gigs are virtual and not in person. I still am with conferences, national conferences, live and that kind of thing. But the day-to-day speaking gigs are virtual.
Yeah. Mine too. I mean, before that pandemic, I was on a plane once a month, and now, that has and I think that that's actually not a bad thing. I think that, when I do go somewhere for a conference or something, I'm so much more focused on it because it's less of an everyday thing nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I agree. I like both. Like I'll never give up speaking in person. You get a lot of juice from the audience, and working in, I always say I'll never give up my one-on-one in-person clients because it's just fun for me. But at the same time, it's more effective to do things virtually these days. Now that everybody's used to getting on camera and being on Zoom, we're less stressed about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a lot easier. I remember pre-2020, I think I got on Zoom in 2015, and learned that I could do coaching online. And oh my gosh, how cool it was. But you really had to teach everybody how to use Zoom every time. And I remember one time, one day, I was just in Zoom in 2020, and I thought, I haven't had to teach people how to use Zoom in like months. So yeah, I haven't had to teach anybody how to use Zoom in a long, long time, which is good. Well, so in this 19 years of excellence, what are the moments that tend to give you the most joy about what you do?
Wow. When I see the person get their dream, I've seen people get the house. I've seen them get the promotion. I've seen them get the guy. I've seen them get what they really want to do. And it's all through the simple act of clearing and adding space for that new thing to arrive.
Mm,
So they go through a lot of deep work of letting go of the stuff that no longer serves them. And once they do that, they have the space for that new big thing. It's always that big thing to enter. That's where I get the juice. It's like, oh my gosh, like one lady, I remember one lady, I helped her. She is a graphic artist and she worked from home, and she called me in, and she had, her kind of desktop was was a mess. Everything was kind of a mess. She lived alone. And so we started clearing out, doing her paper organization, doing her computer file organization. And then she starts talking. I'm like, well, what's your dream? Because I always like to start with, where do they want to be in 5 years? She goes, well, I'd really like to have a significant other. I'd love someone to share my life with. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do that. Right. Let's work towards that. So after we got that space organized, I said, well, let me see what's going on upstairs. Let me see what's going on in your bedroom. So we went up to her bedroom, and she had wall to wall this ginormous closet, like four, more than the 3-door closet. She had like an 8-door closet. Open up the closet, it was completely jam packed, floor to center, floor to, wall to wall, side to side. And then I look over, and she has 2 bedside tables, and they're overflowing. And I'm like, girl, there's no room for anybody here in your life, right? There's no room. If you had someone want to stay, where is he or she going to hang her clothes, right? She goes, oh, okay. So we started clearing out her closet. I said, let's have like a 2-foot pull space, 2-foot of your closet open. Let's clear out that one bedside table. I said, what side of the bed do you sleep on? Let's clear out that bedside table. Let's make it pretty. Let's put a whatever there, one thing. So we do that. So anyhow, she falls. So we work together. I didn't hear from her for a while. And finally I decided I'm going to reach out to her. She had moved from San Diego to Colorado, and because she moved in with somebody. She found her guy. And she goes, oh no, that, it worked. So I'm in Colorado now. That's why you haven't heard from me. I'm in Colorado Springs, and yeah, I found the guy. I have a life mate, and we're really happy. And sorry I didn't get in touch with you, but I moved.
Yeah. You worked yourself out of a job there,
Hey,
which
I
is
love that.
it's a joy. It's a
I
joy when you do that.
Yeah. It was a huge reward for me. I'm like, oh, we did it, and I see them get the car, I see them get the house, I see them get the job, or I see them start a company or exit their company nicely, and create. It's just, we are creators of our own reality, but we can't create when we're stifled by a bunch of stuff.
Mm,
Right? That could be just overloaded schedule. I mean, I'm not even talking physical stuff. It could be digital files. It could be an inbox that just screams at you every day. It could be any number of things. But when you have too much, you shut down, and then you don't have the opening for new things to enter. That's basically the bottom line of all I do as an organizer, is help them clear away the riffraff that doesn't serve them now. And there's a lot of stuff that are in our lives that used to serve us but don't serve us now, or serve us now, but they don't serve us for what we want in the future. Like the lady's closet served her perfectly, but not for what she wanted in the future, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so we're sort of wrapping up the year here, and as we end one year and begin another, do you have any special activities or most important things to do end of year, or anything you do with clients that helps them prepare for the next year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you need to kind of put a bow on your year, and say, okay, done. One thing is absolutely looking at your bookkeeping and making sure that it's in alignment, so that whenever you start the next year, if something's kind of messed up on your chart of accounts or in your spreadsheets or whatever, that is going to make sense for 2024. That way you don't have to scramble back and figure it out. So a bookkeeping tidy up is always something that's good. A house clearing. I love after Christmas to clear out stuff that I no longer want and just donate. And year-end tax purposes, it's really good too. Maybe you need some write-offs. This is the perfect time between Christmas and New Year's to ditch all the stuff and get a charitable donation receipt. Another thing is to look how you've been, back to bookkeeping, look how you've been spending your money and what you want to do going forward, and learning, figuring out the investments that you want to make for the future for what you're doing. Like whatever, maybe you want to learn how to organize your finances better. I have a financial organizing masterclass. Like, figure out what you want to do for next year. And I think goals are a really hard, scary thing. Not necessarily having, goals are changeable.
Mhm.
I'd rather set intentions. My intention for this next year is this, because it will boom and flex. And if it's a goal, it oftentimes becomes like solid, and then you feel bad if you don't hit it. You
Yeah.
know, that, come February, everybody's beating themselves up because they
Yeah.
didn't hit their goal or they're not on their schedule for their goal. I think it's more of setting the intention. And one thing that I always do is I come up with the word for the year. Okay. So what's the word for next year for you?
From me? Hmm, that's a good one. I may need a minute on that one. Do you have one for you?
For next year, it's opulence.
Opulence. All right.
I'm going for opulence in my life in all different forms, whatever that looks like for me.
Wow. Cool. That is a great goal. That's a great goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really done the, kind of the word for the next year type of exercise.
Mm.
Um, I But what I do is I'm also like the goals and the SMART goals and all the things. It's just, it really does drag you down over time. So what I've done is say, okay, this is what I want to do. What is a system of habits that I could use to get there? So I'd rather set up a system and I would much rather work on that level because yeah, if I don't do everything in my system today, okay, but the basis is still there. I'm still gonna get where I'm going. But if I say I'm gonna, lose this much weight by blah blah blah, it just gets so, it gets a little floggy, you know what I'm saying? It's not
It's
good.
demoralizing, you end up just going, "Ah, I love your idea, RJ, of setting up a system because this is the thing, systems can always be tweaked.
Yes.
And systems do. I mean, I always say when I organize people, there's no one way to do anything, and there's always going to be a tweak to make it better as we go on down the line based on how you think and how you react and how you use your space or how your mind works, right? Same thing. It's the same thing with you with systems. You're always going to be refining it and making it better. And that moves you towards the goal, but it doesn't, you're not beating yourself up about the goal because you didn't get there because you're just doing the system to get there.
Yes.
Yeah, much
Yes.
less self-destructive.
Yeah, I definitely, I want that visionary energy going forward. I don't want, as you say, I don't want things dragging me down. I've
Mhm.
got too far to go.
Yeah, yeah. Get rid of all that stuff that doesn't serve you now or for future. And one way to do that, if you're looking at trying to get rid of something, right, to donate for charity, maybe the end of the year, is listen to your self talk. If you're saying, well, that used to be good, or I used to like that, or I used that. So if you're talking in past tense, it's something that no longer is in your life. If you're saying, well, I might be able to use that, then you're talking in future tense.
Yeah,
So if you're not talking in present tense about whatever thing you're thinking about getting rid of, ditch it.
that's wonderful. I absolutely love that pearl of wisdom. Mine that I catch myself with is I was going to use that. Wow. And my wife's like, "Get rid of it, get rid of it." Oh my gosh. Well, so how can people who, have some of these issues, get a hold of you, Kathy?
Well, what I'd like to do for your people, RJ, because we're two peas in a pod, and I love you. I'm gonna do a chaos to cash session. So
Oh,
basically, it's a free chat with me that you chat with me, and this ain't my first rodeo. So I'll talk to you, ask you some questions. The first 5 minutes, I will give you one action thing that you can do to take action to generate more income in 2024 or from whatever. Just generate more income, right? So it's a cash to cash session, which will give you clarity on your next step that you can take to make more money in 2024. And you can go to chatwithkathi.com. And I think you'll drop it in the notes somewhere. It's KATHI, chatwithkathi.com. Check that out. Click the link. It's just something that I will gift to you to help you get started in 2024 in a really cool way with clarity.
yes. Clutter and clarity are opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yep.
And getting rid of that clutter, being able to think more freely and more creatively leads to so much of a happier life. It just really does.
Yeah. Less
Ah.
stress.
Gosh. Well, very good. Well, we're gonna wrap it up for this week. I want to thank you for coming by, and I'm so glad we got to have you on the last podcast of the year to really get people to think about what they're doing and what is holding them back without judgment, without any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Just what's holding you back. Thank you for coming on and gifting my audience. You're amazing.
Absolutely, RJ, always. And happy winter solstice, longest day of the year. Thank goodness we are going, or shortest day of the year. I'm so glad that we're going to start having some daylight here. And that's all I have to say about that. It's time. I'm over
I
it.
know we're in that stretch of gray days. So yes, my friend, we will welcome the sun with open arms.
You
We
got
will.
it. Meanwhile, have a fabulous holiday. And thank you so much, RJ. It's always good to play with you.
Oh my gosh. Same. Absolutely same here. And to the audience, do take advantage of the chat with Kathy. I've also got a more specific link in there that will help you guys get to where you're going. But uh, take advantage of an opportunity to lose some weight between your ears and to help you become more aerodynamic and more creative and more fulfilled in your life. And also, if you guys are around next week, I'm having an open house of the community. The Come Right In. It's behind me. Come December 28th. Enjoy a beverage free. Of course, you'll be making your own beverage. I'm not doing it for you, but come enjoy beverage with us on the 28th. I'll drop some information about that too. And in the meantime, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll see you in a bot.